JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Tuesday, January 21st, 316. On this fine Tuesday, talk about the market. Some names I'm looking at, go from there. But here we are again. S&P is rallying up 0.8%. Small caps up 1.7%. And just some follow through. Just remarkable what a couple days does for market sentiment. It seemed like a week and a half ago, we were ready. That was it. The Fed was turned hawkish, and we are going to be stuck in a rut for a while. And then sure enough, CPI data comes out. PPI data kind of puts the nix a little bit on the inflation coming back narrative. And now, yeah, looks like 610 on the SPY. I think looks like the next target here. So, just watching upper Bollinger Band 604 on the SPY. So maybe that might provide some resistance. We got up to 602.88. Also, good sign. I posted the amount of stocks trading over their 50-day moving average on the S&P finally over 50%. So again, just a couple days ago on January 13th, it was, I think at one point it dropped under 13%. And then just fast forward a couple sessions later and boom, 50% of the stocks trending over their 50-day moving average, which I love trends. So that's a good start for a trend, especially if those names are just starting to cross their 50-day. I think that means there's more room to go. So yeah, well, take everything with a grain of salt. There's not much in the way of catalysts this week in regards to uh, data. Talked about this morning. I think Japan has their central bank decision. They're probably going to raise rates. They're in a different kind of set of environment than the U.S. market is, and Japan, they've had that lost decade of no growth, so they're probably a little more cautious in regards to making sure that doesn't happen again. So they're in a different spot. But there's nothing else really. Netflix earnings, Johnson and Johnson, American Airlines, Intuitive Surgical, what they already pre-announced. Um, so outside of that, and all these other headline-driven announcements, right? So earlier today, there's rumors of infrastructure deal, but Oracle and SoftBank are supposedly partnering together. I don't know, was it Project Orion or so? I forget what that just came out. $100 billion supposed to be invested in AI infrastructure. There's gonna be another announcement. Supposedly it's supposed to go up to 500 billion. So you saw some of the names that are traditional infrastructure. If you think about it, highways, buildings, all that fun stuff, water, electricity. Some of those names fell, and Caterpillar is one of them. And then you saw the AI names going. But to me, I'll talk about Cat in a second. So that's the overall market. I also, what else do we have here? The VIX was down at 14. Yields are going down again. How much do they? I didn't even check with the 10-year. Oh, it's off the highs, off the lows, but a good sign there. And the VIX was down at, yeah, it's down at 15 here. So all good stuff. All right, so now individual names. First, I'll just get Netflix out of the way. Right now, I think it's a 7% implied move after today's action. Again, you go out and look, and the stock's pretty much, what is it, up 1%? And you go out to the $1,000 strikes that are, what are we, was it at right now? 866? So is that $134 out of the money? Or 867. So $133 out of the money. Those are 360 by 370, and they expire on Friday. So that's a lot of risk to pay. Of course, if they have a great quarter, which I think they will, and they'll probably raise their guidance or be optimistic in regards to their guidance and margins. I mean, could it get to 1,000? Maybe it does. I think the catalyst that would probably move the stock, I mentioned this morning, is possible a split, right? So if they do another split, 10 for 1, maybe they do here. And back when they did a 7 for 1 back in, I think it was 2014 or 2015. The stock was, I think it was like 800. It went from 800 up to 1,000 before the split, and that happened quick. So, needless to say, I'm not trading Netflix maybe tomorrow, but I'm optimistic, and I think they're going to post a great quarter. And so last quarter, they're going to announce member numbers in regards to subscription ads as well as average revenue per member, because that whole landscape has changed. Back when Netflix started, they just pretty much had one tier, and that was it, And then when they went international, same. Then they came out with the ad tier, the how many profile tier, the sharing tier. So there's all these different tiers now. So it's tough to get all these metrics together, uh, and it makes sense for them. Puts less of that number under a microscope and more of the bigger picture. But that's Netflix, which brings me to Roku. And I was going to add some strikes last week on Friday after uh, before the weekend, and I figured I'd wait. And then, sure enough, it gets initiated with an outperform rating by JMP Securities. For some reason, I thought it was a perform rating, $95 price target. And then you also have this possible sympathy move with Netflix. So I didn't want to be a spot where I had no position on. So I grabbed some more spec weekly calls for this week. I was looking at the 105s and 110s into February. They're kind of pricey, and I figure if it moves, I'll probably be able to close some or all of my calls in and then roll them out past earnings. So that's kind of the thought process there. Um, but love to set up here, and it's just like look great. It was 81.74 about 1 o'clock, and then fast forward 2 hours later, it's back under $80, still up 5%. So just need some follow through, and hopefully one of these weeks stays. It does not do its typical Roku thing, which is give back the gains for the rest of the week. But Netflix could certainly set the tone. So that's Netflix. Caterpillar. So after chatting about Caterpillar for the last at least seven days, finally got some calls after it was gapping higher. Again, there's rumors of infrastructure bills or whatever. I don't know if that was all the movement. Of course, it helped with the gap, but I think Caterpillar's been running some of it on its own merits. And then, like I was talking last week, I think that the fire in California is going to require a heck of a lot of money, and it, the money's going to go into some of these names that are going to be in those places. And obviously, Caterpillar is one of those. So, I mean, the stock is up 6 sessions in a row, but it's back over its 50-day moving average. I went and got the calls. I think it was 391, 392. I got the 410s. I was actually, I had on the watch list. I thought I was going to be able to get 400s, but couldn't get those. Well, I could, but I didn't like the risk reward. And the 405s were kind of pricey. I went out and got the 410s. And then a little later, I'm able to close them out for 100. I held the rest. It breaks over 400. I closed some more out for almost for 400%. And then I still have some that I'm holding on to. I unfortunately, in the mid-afternoon when that announcement came out between Oracle and SoftBank around the AI infrastructure, the Caterpillar sold off because people were like, oh, wow, it's not regular infrastructure. But I don't know how much is baked into that move, but I still think it trades north of 400 this week. So I'll continue to hold those, and maybe it overshoots. When I got the calls at 392, I thought, wow, if this gets to 400 this week, in the next day or two, those calls will pay. And it did it within a matter of a couple hours. So maybe I'll up that up. 408. So 408, no, 408 was December highs. 410 was November. So big spots there. So 408 maybe is the first target. If it doesn't break that, I'll close the rest. But thankful, lock some in, lock some profits, riding the rest. Really like that one for continuation tomorrow, especially if the market rallies or continues. MDB. So finally got some MDB calls. You take a look at the stock, and it sold off considerably since its earnings. It was 360. I remember, I think it was 4 something or 420 after its earnings. It was looking great after hours, pre-market, and then just gave back all the gains. You look at it, and it's done these moves over the years. Seems like every couple of years or every 1 or 2 years, it sells off and then consolidates, and then embarks on a huge swing. So I would not rule this out to move back over 280 in the coming days, coming weeks. I'll continue to look for opportunities to play for upside. All the way up to 265 right in the afternoon. Lock some of my calls in for 100%, covered costs, right and free. I'll hold the rest. Call me crazy if the market continues this week, and there's only 3 more days. Again, we had holiday shortened. I think it trade north of 280. So that's kind of the thought process there on MDB. And Adobe, I put on a watch list too. It's like one of my. If you missed the memo, I really love this setup. Not only just on a chart basis, oversold basis, historical, a low valuation basis. It has all the setups there. And the unfortunate thing is it hasn't the premiums. And I got the 450s. They were looking great a little while ago, despite the 2% move. The premium's starting to come out again. So hopefully, maybe it gets an upgrade tomorrow, or it just runs with the rest of the market, or the AI infrastructure announcement helps it. But I still think it trades. I thought 445. I think it trades north of 450 and beyond. You look at that. I think it's 438 and change. I was talking at the start of the year. If it closes over that, I think then it's good to go. I'm not saying it's going to gap fill up past 500 from its earnings drop, but still like this one for upside. Joby looks great today. I was actually looking for later strikes. I have that 962 handle in my head, and this has had a history of having these volatile swings. So I want to see some continuation tomorrow before I add some more strikes. Have the February call still, so no rush if it does do some kind of crazy move tomorrow. But 962, I think, is the spot. If it gets over that and holds, I'll add some more strikes. April's probably, or even further out than that, probably 14, 15, $16 calls, somewhere in there in the price range. Still my eyes on Intuitive Surgical. It was doing nothing all day, and then they announced at about 12:45 that they acquired a company that gives them direct sales presence in some countries in Eurozone, Italy, Malta. I didn't see all the rest of them. And then the stock spiked, and now it's up here at 603. Premiums are a little expensive, so I'll probably wait on that one. TripAdvisor is doing nothing today. I just hope it closes over 16. It is up quite a few sessions in a row, so to see it consolidate, I guess is a good thing. But I prefer to just continue melting higher, and a slow melt up. But it was at a 16, so most of the morning, pulled back into the afternoon, sitting here at 15.98. Just close over 16, please. That's that. I'm trying to think of some other names: Caterpillar, Adobe, uh, Roku. Teledoc, I still can't figure Teledoc. It's like the thing was $12 after they had the conference. The double was, oh no, Solar Edge. One of the analysts came out who had a conference with them. They upgraded, and I thought that was good to go, and it's just did nothing since. It announced that partnership with Amazon. And then yeah, Solar Edge. Some of these names that hopefully they start to find some footing. And solar's probably not the hottest space a little bit because of the new administration, but I think those names come back to life. I think that's it, folks. I'm trying to think of some other names. That's it, folks. Have a great day. I'll be back. Rock and roll.